This is the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 2015 Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. It is finally time to play some Bison football. I'm your host, Chris Berg, along with my co-host here, Alex Egan. We have got a tremendous show in store for you today. We're going to tell you all about that in just a few moments. But first, as you might notice, there's a couple things different about this year's pregame show.
How about this? This is nice.
This is stunning.
This is nice. Also, we're not going to do just the 30 minutes before kickoff every time. We're extending it to an hour ahead of kickoff. So make sure you join us 1 hour before each Bison game. We will be here getting you ready and getting you set for every game this season.
Which, by the way, today we're going to be leading you up right up to game time, which you all know is at 2:30. It's on ESPN, being called by the one and only Montana native, his dad, and North Dakota native, Brent Musburger. I think Alex and I are going to be fighting about who gets to actually toss him at the end of the show, but also Jesse Palmer doing the color.
Yeah, it's the SEC crew, so they're getting a taste of what FCS football is all about. You know, they're used to big-time football down there in the SEC. Montana's kind of like the SEC of the Northwest, so I mean, you take it that way.
Whoa, that's like fighting words here.
It's a good atmosphere up there. I've been to a game up there. You've been to a game up there. It's the first and only college football game being played today. So I think everybody is just really ready to get this game going.
The one thing I know for certain from playing is that every single guy on the team is ready to hit someone with a different colored jersey.
Yeah, they're sick.
That's for sure. Speaking about the SEC, Brent this week said that Montana very much has got an SEC atmosphere with the stands. We'll have all the inside story here for you for the next 60 minutes. Before, though, also we're going to hear from Coach Klieman at one point today. Our very own Valley News Live, Beth Houle, is in Missoula. She's going to talk with Coach right before he goes on the field to give you the closing thoughts there, some great tailgating stuff, and we're going to hear from a national champion at the FCS level.
Yeah.
The issue is, though, he won his national title at Montana. DJ Colter is going to join us. He and I are going to be breaking down the brand new Coach Stitt offense. They love to run and gun. Can this young Bison defense stand up to him?
We'll get into that in just a minute. But before we get into today's game and this season, let's go back and take a look at last season with the Bison. Obviously, 4th national championship. That doesn't hurt when you get that. If we could bring that up. Last season started off well. I mean, Iowa State, you get the big win there, trailing 14-0, then to come back for the win there. The only blemish on the record, that Northern Iowa school, pesky Northern Iowa school. You have some ties there, Chris.
We'll talk about that later.
The loss there by 20, but no harm, no foul. They are co-champions of the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and then they go into the playoffs with some good momentum, picking up a big win against Youngstown State. Let's take a look at the playoffs from last season. It was a tight one there against a familiar foe.
Tight. I mean, Zach Zinner was running up and down the sidelines thinking, hey, we just won the football game.
Yeah.
And then Wentz again pulls out a last-minute win. But we'll be talking about some of these closer games from last year and how that could possibly pose some threats to this year. Then another it was pretty close game against Coastal Carolina. They had a couple of great wideouts. This wasn't a last-minute win, but they drove down with about 8-9 minutes left in the fourth quarter there to pull off another W.
Yeah, and it just, you know, this team just finds a way. It's last year's team, I should say, just finds a way to win. They find a way against South Dakota State in the first round. They find a way here, and then, well, this was just kind of a take it as you will. 35-3 against Sam Houston State in the semis. It's probably not the result that a lot of people were expecting, given the closeness of the first two games of the playoffs, but still a 35-3 win, and you take a ton of Montana into Fargo South, a.k.a. Frisco, Texas, since, you know, Fargo's been there a lot over the past 4 seasons. And in the championship game, what a game on display for everyone to see.
That was incredible. Again, you've got a couple of studs at Illinois State. They drive down, they go ahead, and Carson Wentz comes back, hits R.J. Urzendowski, a freshman, for a huge, huge completion in that game. And Carson finishes it off, obviously, with a rushing touchdown. 4 in a row. That is unprecedented, historic, only been done, I think, at the D2 or D3 level by the Augustana back in the 80s. But at the FCS level, that is unprecedented. So now it's time to move on. What we've all been talking about probably since the end of that game is the drive for 5. Can NDSU make this happen? And I'm not saying this to be a homer, Alex. I look at this schedule. I go, look, the only people that can prevent them from going 5 in a row, I think, is going to be themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough matchups on there, but when you look at a team that's won 4 in a row, and yeah, it's not the same team as last year, but it is, you know, still North Dakota State. There's obviously a big game there on September 19th that a lot of people have circled on their calendars. But, yeah, 10-1. 11-0, not entirely out of the question.
No, the best news for everybody out there, as you can see here, except for today's game and the game against Indiana State, every single game you can watch right here on Valley News Live in the NBC North Dakota statewide network. I want to remind you, 1 hour before every single game, we will have this great pregame show in store for you as well. So lots coming up this entire season. Your thoughts? Drive for 5, yes or no?
I think the drive for 5 is pretty big. I think it's very, very possible for North Dakota State to get a 5th national championship. They will get there. They will be the only person or the only team to get in their way, I have a feeling. Like you said, it's North Dakota State's championship to lose at this point.
And one of the things we'd be remiss if we don't mention here, because we're going to take you out to Coach Klieman in just a moment, is obviously you talk about the fog, the haze from the fires.
Yes.
Every single high school game in Missoula last night was canceled. It's been something that everyone's been talking about today.
And if it's not the fog, the haze, the smoke, from what we're hearing right now in Montana, they're dealing with a little bit of lightning as well. So it's Mother Nature or what have you is trying to make this football game not be played. But we have been assured by Montana's AD, by Matt Larson, the North Dakota State AD, this game will be played.
And I think the ESPN execs probably had a little bit to do with that.
You don't bring ESPN to town and then say, hey, guys, we're not going to play this one. It's a little smoky out here. But it will be played at some point today.
We've got the inside story today. Beth did a great segment on Coach Entz, the defensive coordinator for the Bison. Everybody's been talking about, hey, these guys are young. Can they hold up to this run and gun offense? We've got that in store for you. Again, DJ Colter's going to be joining us. He won a national title at Montana back in 1995. What does he see? If David's going to go out and beat what I would say is Goliath today, what does he see as the keys for Montana to do that? And coming up next, Coach Chris Klieman, his final thoughts right before he and the herd hit the field. We'll be right back here at the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show right after this. Welcome back to the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. Our very own Valley News Live Sports Director Beth Houle is in Missoula right now. She had a chance to get some final thoughts from NDSU coach Chris Klieman. Beth?
Hey guys, that's right. Thanks, Coach Klieman, for joining us here before this game. Looking to start off the season on the right note. How are you guys feeling? How the team looked this morning in your walkthrough?
Everything is, the kids are ready to go, and we're focused, we're prepared now. We just got to decide how the game's going to play out. You know, how are our young guys going to do, and we'll have some surprises, and then we'll have some guys that we probably have to make some mistakes, and we're going to have to correct. But our guys are excited to just play a football game.
When you look at your defense and the youth that we've been talking about all preseason, how much do you depend on Carson and his ability to control a game, to maybe be able to break them in slowly in this one?
Well, I kind of challenge the entire offense today that, a team that wants to have 90 to 100 plays like Montana does, one way you take that away is by controlling the football offensively, and that doesn't just start with Carson, that starts with our offensive line, and that's who we challenge today is offensive line. We've got to be able to sustain some drives, 6-7 minutes, and then probably most importantly, when we do get those drives, finish off with touchdowns.
How ready are you guys to play some football today?
Well, we really are. We've been in camp a long time, since August 2nd, and the benefit is we're playing the first game on college in college football today, and it was it's kind of surreal that it's upon us as we speak right now, and our guys are ready to play, and like I said, we'll find a lot of things out today.
Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the pregame show. We look forward to an exciting game. We've got plenty more coming up for you from Montana. Guys?
All right, thank you very much, Beth. It does look hazy out there, but one of the few things that I grabbed from what Coach Klieman had to say, they need to sustain drives. When you're playing an offense like head coach Bob Stitt brings with Montana, the best defense is a good offense. Keep their offense off the field. The way you do that is with those sustained drives. And then the other thing that he said, get touchdowns. Last year in this game, 5 field goals from Adam Keller, a school record. We heard from Carson Wentz earlier in the week, and he said, there's a problem when your kicker is getting a school record in field goals. It doesn't really look well for the offense. So I think those really are 2 big keys to today's game and for North Dakota State's success.
Yeah, they were 1 for 5 last year in the red zone, which I think was shocking for many people. If you watch, obviously outside the red zone, they were just moving guys around at will. And I talked to Coach Chris Klieman earlier this week, and he said, look, Chris, if we can keep this team to 70 plays or less, we will win this football game. But one of the things that a lot of people are not talking about with this Coach Stitt offense, and again, DJ Colter and I will mention this in the next segment, but last year there were some games Coach Stitt would have 24-play drives, not halves, 24-play drives. And the other thing that I've heard a lot of people talk about this week here in the media is that Coach Stitt, 4th down is just another down to get a first down for him. I mean, this guy does not see 4th down as a punting down, unless, of course, you're inside, you're in 30 or whatnot. But otherwise, he's like, hey, we're going for it.
Yeah, the fourth down is not a punting down for him. If he's on the 40, his own 40 or near the 50-yard line, don't expect to see the punting unit be run out there. So it's a very fast-paced and go-for-it offense, which I think is a fun offense to play in for the players.
It's going to be great. And keep in mind, too, Montana's got a couple of guys outside that are absolute studs. These guys can run, they can jump, and, of course, they can catch. One of the big questions is Brady Gustafson, the new quarterback at Montana. Is he going to be standing upright or on his back most of this game? Because it's kind of hard to complete passes when you're on your back.
Yeah, it's not easy. I'll tell you that much, yeah.
All right, stay with us. Much more coming up. When we come back, you're going to hear from Coach Klieman again later in the show. There's more to the interview. Also, DJ Colter, many of you know him here around town. He won a national title. He's going to be joining us to break down the Montana game, what their keys are. Plus,
we will have the Bison football show with Chris Klieman tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on KX4, and then you can catch the rebroadcast tomorrow night after Valley News Live 10 at 10 right here on KBOY. Let's get you out to Detroit Lakes. They're having fun watching the Bison. It's the Teammakers right here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show.
Oh, look at that beast, huh? Welcome back to the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show. That right there is back in the day, DJ Colter playing at Montana. That is one big defensive lineman, and he joins us today in studio. Great to have you here, sir.
Great to be here.
So let's break this thing down. You guys got a new coach. He's got a run-and-gun offense we'll get into in a moment. But I think first off, one of the big things I mentioned earlier in the show, Brent Musburger even earlier this week, does all the big games, said, hey, this Montana atmosphere, I'm telling you, it is like the SEC. We here in Bison Land have got a lot of pride about the ambiance that we create in the Dome. Compare the two, if you will, please.
Well, both programs have a special group of fans. And both states love football. And in Montana, this is it. There's nothing within 8 hours of a big city, a pro team. So this is the state's, football, both for the Cats, get about 18,000. The Grizz get about 24,000 a game. Tailgating, both programs have passionate fans. And they care about it. They put money. They invest in their facilities. That's what it's all about at this level.
When you're talking today, they put some extra seats in for this game, 25 plus, 26, maybe even hit 27,000 Grizz fans in there. One of the things I watched a great interview with Brent Musburger yesterday. One of the things I really appreciated, he said, DJ, and I feel like we here in the Dome do the same thing, but he said, look, you know what, the great thing about Montana is it's called knowledgeable noise. They know when it's 3rd and 2, you got to raise it up a few decibels.
Well, you got to remember that during a 15-year span, the Grizz were in 7 out of 15 national championships. So fans have been through the years, like NDSU has the last 5 years, their runs of, when you get in those playoff games, fans learn the game fast. And that transcends to helping at that home field advantage. And that noise level picks up for whether it's Grizz or the Bison. It's an awesome atmosphere to be in for the fans and the players playing on the field.
Hey, man, the place starts rocking. Let's talk a little bit about all this fog and haze from these fires. It sounds like this isn't, a normal occurrence, but definitely has happened in the past. I want to get your thoughts on, one, have you played in this kind of scenario before? Two is, as a former player, do you think it's really going to impact the game in any way?
I don't know if it's going to impact it. I was just watching Beth's interview there with the wind. I mean, the Grizz are going to throw the ball a lot more, and if NDSU gets Carson rolling, are they going to try to throw a little bit more? And, that wind could be up to 30, 40 miles an hour, they said, by late afternoon. That would be more of an influence, I'd say.
Do you think Carson's going to be throwing the rock today?
He could. I mean, if they get him, if I'm the NDSU, I run the ball.
Amen.
But we'll see.
All right, we'll talk more about those keys later in the game. Let's talk about the keys for Montana. Again, I've sort of said, hey, this could be a potential David and Goliath type situation. One of the key things to note, Montana's got a 28 non-conference home game winning streak. The last loss they've had to a non-conference team in Montana, the Miracle in Missoula, 2003 against NDSU. We want to play for you a quick soundbite. This is Coach Stitt earlier in the week talking about some of the keys they feel for their success against NDSU.
We can knock the top off of a coverage with our wide receivers, and that wasn't the case last year, and people could do some different things to us defensively, and if they try to do the same thing this year, then we should be able to get some big plays on them.
I'm a former quarterback. I love nothing more than throwing it deep and throwing it often, but as I said earlier, it's tough to throw when you're on your back. Let's start with you being in the trenches. Can Montana's O-line hold up to give them some time to throw deep to these guys?
They really struggled last year, and they're young. I'd really look for the interior. There's the center and the two guards. Can they match up well with the two D tackles and middle linebacker DeLuca? Because that's NDSU's strength inside for them. So that's going to be a challenge. As he mentioned, Jones and Henderson are special players on the outside. I see Montana trying to dink and dunk, get quick passes out, try to get the ball in their hands. Maybe if NDSU's maybe inexperienced DBs start coming up, their safeties, corners, can the Grizz get over the top of NDSU?
And with this context, I think one of the biggest questions I had, and I asked Coach Klieman this earlier in the week, is you got a young quarterback, not a lot of experience, new offensive scheme. He's going to be in his head. You and I both know how this goes. Do you go after this guy, or do you sit back in zone and let him do his thing?
I do a little bit of both, but I would come after him. Let's see if this is a tough offense to run as a quarterback. You make all the calls, you come up to the line of scrimmage. It is all quarterback driven offensively. And for a team to transition from the pro style to this within a year, you got to have the right personnel. Do the Grizz have the right personnel? We'll see. Are the Bison young on defense? Yes. But are they talented? Yes.
But the other thing that not a lot of people are talking about this year, because everyone's looking at the defense going, hey, they're young, they're young, they're young. But you're not so young after you went through against Wentz, Crockett, all these guys, all of last year, every single day. In my opinion, with that kind of speed coming from your own guys, you show up today and you're like, this isn't as fast as I thought it was going to be. Do you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, this is going to be great in that sense. You've been practicing the last few weeks against some of the, this is the best, could be the best offense in FCS this year with a quarterback who's a big-time pro prospect, great offensive line, maybe the best offensive line in FCS, maybe in school history. NDSU is not going to have any problems either side of the ball.
Can Montana pull this upset off?
It's going to be really tough. They're going to have some big breaks, win the turnover margin big time, and maybe some special teams wins here or there. Because NDSU, people don't talk about how good NDSU's been in the last 5 years controlling special teams. They struggled a little bit at the end of last year, but overall, NDSU's special teams have really been special at this level.
Which could be a fascinating facet of this game today from the standpoint that Ben LeCompte is going to be kicking, punting, PATs. I mean, that's a lot for one young man to be doing the entire game. I want to get your final thoughts on that.
If Ben can punt like he has the last few years, that's where they need him the most. Because if they can control the line of scrimmage and control where the ball is, that'll help NDSU a lot. With this win, those kickoffs,
But last year, you take out those 5 field goals, NDSU doesn't win this football game. It was 22-10.
NDSU controlled the ball game, though, between the 20s. And if this year they do that, if their O-line gets going and they control it, it's hard to beat a team like that.
DJ, great to have you here. DJ's going to
thanks.
join us in the last segment as well. Again, you're going to hear from Coach Klieman later in the show. Also, we're going to bring you some tailgating from Missoula. Apparently, you guys get pretty crazy there in Missoula.
It's a lot of fun.
We'll give you some insight into that. Also, Coach Entz, we're going to talk about this young defense specifically with him. And also, let's take it back out to Detroit Lakes. This is great. The NDSU teammakers are helping us out to show off some of the parties all across the country. This one here at Beach Bar and Grill in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Stay with us. Much more coming up right here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. Welcome back to the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. It's time now for our Bobcat Heavy Lifting Report. This is where we really focus on one player from each team that we think really needs to step up today and do the quote-unquote heavy lifting to ensure a win for their program. Alex, what do you have for us, sir?
Well, I think we've just gotten the news just a little bit ago that C.J. Smith will not be playing today for the Bison. C.J. Smith, the cornerback, who was one of the guys that I think we thought might not play, but they were holding out hope for it. C.J. Smith will not be doing any playing today. So in his place will be Jalen Allison. He's a redshirt freshman. He is filling in for C.J. Smith. I think that he is going to be one of the key players for this. Now, if I'm Brady Gustafson for Montana, I'm looking for number 21, and I'm throwing his direction every time. An untested kid, although from what we've heard from Coach Klieman, he had a quiet camp. And when I say quiet, his name wasn't getting called because he wasn't getting beat all the time. So I think Coach Klieman is very confident in what Jalen Allison can do. Will he be,
Bright
eyes
lights.
in the lights?
Exactly.
Yeah, deer in the headlights type look for and playing in front of 27,000 people on ESPN. Will that get into his head? Jalen Allison is my Bobcat heavy lifting player for North Dakota State. On the flip side for Montana, it's a guy that maybe nobody's really heard of on the defensive side because he hasn't played defense yet. He is lining up as nose tackle today for Montana. It's Jamal Wilson, number 34. Get this. He played fullback his first couple years at Montana. Now he's a senior, and I don't think they were expecting him to be the guy to come out and win that tackle job on the defensive side. But apparently, from what we've heard from our good friend DJ Colter, he's won the job.
Well, not only that, according to the Montana Grizz presser that they send out obviously before every game, he's on like a USA Today, maybe third team or honorable mention, but he's on like an All-American list somehow. Never even played the position. And to share with you why we chose this player, obviously transitioning from fullback to D-line is one thing, but if we all look back at last year's UNI game, the key to their victory, yes, we know Carson Wentz got hurt, we understand that, but the key to that victory was a guy named Xavier Williams, another defensive tackle at UNI that was stuffing up the holes, making them double team him, those kind of things. If this Wilson kid can force these guys to do that, it may pose some issues for the NDSU offense.
Yeah, it's interesting for us to pick two defensive players when both offenses are the ones that we're really looking forward to seeing. But those two guys, Allison for NDSU, Wilson for Montana, those are the two guys that they're going to have the spotlight on them. And if it's not on them, teams will be looking to put the spotlight on them.
It'll be fascinating to watch because, you know, the third and fourth quarter as well, which we'll talk more about at the end of the show, but conditioning. Kramer does an amazing job for the Bison with that. But will this Wilson guy, first time playing down there in the trenches for an entire game, end up being on a sled basically by the third and fourth quarter? We want to take you back out to Missoula right now. Valley News Live sports director Beth Houle is going to give us a little breakdown on some tailgating happened out there in Missoula. Beth?
Hey guys, welcome back for our Northland Tailgating Report. I'm joined now by Eric, part of the Six Flags tailgating group here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys have going on, how you're showing Montana what Bison tailgating means?
Well, the formula has been the same for us ever since we started tailgating. We got out here on Thursday, kind of break the ice, get out here, show them what we got, show them how we do it big, and go home.
Now, I've been told by lots of Montana alums that NDSU tailgating is learning from the Grizz. You're out here now, you're experiencing it. Does it feel like you're learning from them or like you might be teaching them a little something?
I definitely think we're teachers. We're not students out here. That's all I can say about that.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at your Six Flags tailgating group here. A lot of people out here with you guys. Is this family? Is this friends? Is this random bystander?
You know what? It's we build it, our crew comes, and then anybody else who wants, they're all welcome. So we get a lot of randoms out in here.
Well, that seems like the Bison way, doesn't it? The more the merrier, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It's a one big family, and you know, we're just a tailgating family out here.
All right, it's a great time out here in Montana. We've got plenty more coming up for this Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show. Stick with us.
Hit the music.
Go to break. And we're taking a live look back now at the Detroit Lakes Beach Bar and Grill in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Some fans getting ready, getting excited for Bison football. Stay with us.
Let's go. Wait, let's see some horns. Let's see some horns.
Oh, we see the horns.
Get the horns up. Come on. There you go. I love that.
All right, stay with us right here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. We're back after this.
Welcome back to the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. I want to remind you, this is going to be 60 minutes every single week this year. So one of the great things we're going to give you a chance to do, or ourselves even a chance to do, is really take an inside look into the Bison program. Alex and our team put together a great package for you. Alex, what do we have?
What are you doing down there? Yeah, we were talking about today. I mean, a lot of the focus this year, this week for this game has been on the head coaches. Bob Stitt's new for Montana. Chris Klieman entering into his second season as the head coach for NDSU. But one of the coaches that has a little bit of a tough time filling in for the head coach as he left the current position to take the head coach position. Matt Entz, defensive coordinator for the NDSU Bison. Let's take a look.
Or he could start running away. Now it turns into a profile attack.
In his first year in charge, defensive coordinator Matt Entz was honest. He depended a lot on the seniors to teach him about the Code Green defense. Year 2 is a new year, though.
A lot of different faces out there, so now there's more eyes looking back to me for some answers or some instruction or advice or anything that I can give them, especially with our younger kids right now.
young kids they have. Just 3 seniors return this season, but where they lack in experience, Coach Entz feels they compete on every other level.
We know we're young, but that doesn't mean we can't be good still. And, they want to be really good. They understand the expectations of being Code Green and being at NDSU.
Code Green, it's almost indescribable, but Entz explains it best when he says it's about doing the right thing, putting in the hard work. It's a way of life, and it's been the Bison way long before Coach Entz, and he plans to keep it going.
It's proven, it's worked, our kids believe in it. We're going to play hard, play smart, and play together, and get after it on Saturday.
I think Matt's done a great job of A, keeping the guys grounded, but B, keeping them hungry because, we're going to have to make a big stop on Saturday for us to win the game.
It's a fact Code Green is well aware of, and it's a bell their coordinator has been challenging them to answer since the moment they walked off the field in Frisco, Texas. With his confidence growing each day at North Dakota State, Coach Entz pushes the defense harder and further to reach their full potential today in Montana.
All right, you see there, his first year, he's got a lot of experience, a lot of guys, Christian Dudley, Carlton Littlejohn, Kyle Emanuel, seniors that have played, 50, 60 games, kind of saying, hey, coach, we're fine. But now this year, he's dealing with a lot of inexperience, so he's really having to earn his stripes as a defensive coordinator this year.
Big transition for him, obviously, but it's going to be fascinating to watch how he's schooling up these younger guys. And again, I can't stress enough the importance of, all last year, these guys playing against a Johnny Crockett, a Carson Wentz, this great offensive line. I really believe that they're going to be ready to show up and play some outstanding football today.
I agree. I totally agree that he will have them coached up and ready to go.
And we got Coach Klieman, too, helping scheme things. Those two defensive minds.
That doesn't hurt.
They're not sleeping very much as of late. All right, stay with us here at the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. I want to remind you, you're going to hear some more from Coach Klieman right before he steps on this field, kind of his final thoughts on what are the keys to win, and also our Sanford Health Player Injury Report. Stay with us. Much more coming up right here on the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Hey guys, welcome back with your Sanford Orthopedic Sports Medicine Injury Report. I'm joined by Dr. Bruce Piatt. Thanks again for joining us this season. The big talk coming in this year was, of course, the smoky conditions out here in Montana. How can you go about preparing the athletes for this sort of environment?
Well, most of that's been done preseason, just like everything else that goes along with these athletes. All the conditioning they do puts them in a position where they can react to any kind of unusual environment, whether it be heat, cold, and in this case, the conditions of the smoke. The biggest thing we're getting help from right now is the wind and the fact that we've had a little bit of rain that's knocked this down. It's probably as clear as we've seen it since we've gotten here, so those things help. The kids that we've identified that are really at risk are the ones who have underlying reactive airway disease, and so those kids we'll do special things with. We'll make sure that they have taken their inhalers to kind of get their lungs in as good a shape as they could be, ready to undertake these conditions. We'll assess them periodically. We have things on the sideline if they get into trouble in the way of oxygen. We'll have steroids, things like that, if they're causing any kind of severe reaction to it.
We know that the team brought fans down here to help circulate the air down here on this tight sideline. How much of this is you trusting the guys, though, to come and say something if they're having any difficulty breathing? Are there warning signs you've told them about?
I don't think we can trust the athlete at all at this point. Once the adrenaline gets going, they may not recognize it until it's too late. So we'll be inside every situation when there's a huddle, when the team's coming on and off the field. We'll be looking at them, assessing them, talking to kids, make sure that they all act and are responding normally.
Well, thanks again for your time once again. The first of many to come of Sanford Orthopedic Sports Medicine Injury Reports. For now, back to you guys back in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, Beth. Yeah, the smoke obviously is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue for both sides of the ball, or for both teams, if you beg your pardon. And it's something that you can't help, but you have to deal with it.
I love the doc. No, we're not going to trust the players. They're not going to take themselves out of the game. It's on ESPN, first game of the year. No way. They're going to play.
You won't see a broken leg. Yeah, you won't see too many. Let's take a look at who is out today for the Bison. We let you know earlier that C.J. Smith is the big name that will be missing from the Bison lineup today. He's coming off of that knee surgery that took place last year. So he's coming off of a knee surgery. Jack Plankers, a backup O-lineman, is out with a broken foot. He broke that a couple weeks ago. Will be out for a few weeks more. And that one not as troublesome right away. The O-lineman injury is not as troublesome because we have the starting 5 in there. But if somebody goes down, Plankers would have been a guy to fill in. So that might come into play today if somebody goes down. The big one, though, is C.J. Smith. That's going to put some pressure on this already kind of inexperienced defensive backfield.
I'm telling you right now, I mean, you look at Jalen, he's about, what, 6 foot, $177, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking about now what's going to happen is Coach Stitt's going to start doing a bunch of bubble screens, things of that nature. I'm telling you, getting the ball out quick, and he's going to be pulling his tackles, his tight ends out on these cornerbacks to put big man on little man and open up the space. And then you got guys like Jones and Henderson that can run like the wind. They're going to be flying up and down the sidelines, assuming that Gustafson can get the rock in their hand. So watch those bubble screens. They're going to lull you to sleep, and then what's going to happen is they're going to fake the old bubble screen, and then your man Jones is going to be going deep, and he's going to go boop right over the top, and who knows what's going to happen there. Again, that's assuming that the QB is going to have the time to do it.
Yeah, discipline and teamwork is what it's going to come down to for the NDSU Bison defense. Don't go away. We are taking you right up to game time on ESPN. The game is on ESPN at 2:30. We will take you right up to game time. For now, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and get you set and ready to go. We are through with breaks after this. Stay with us right here on the Bison Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show.
Welcome back to the Farmers Union Insurance Bison Football Pregame Show. We're going to walk you all the way up to game time right now. Want to remind you, it's on ESPN, called by the one and only Brent Musburger. Should be a phenomenal game to watch. So what we want to do right now is we're going to go back out to our very own Beth Hool, give you another little tailgating update. I thought she was actually working today.
Yeah, I thought she was too.
What's the story? How do I get this gig,
yeah,
right? So you can see here, we've got our countdown clock. We are 10 minutes right now to kick off. But let's go out to Beth Hool in Missoula and get a quick tailgating update first.
Hey guys, welcome to our Northland Ford Tailgating Report. I'm joined by the leader of the Dirty Herd, Andy Glass himself. Andy, you guys rolled out here Wednesday night to start staking your claim in Montana. How's it been so far?
The atmosphere's been great. Besides the smoke, that kind of atmosphere wasn't so good, but it's been fantastic.
Well, we have the rain rolling in right now. You know, they say with rain comes thunder. What are you thinking about this NDSU Montana matchup tonight?
Well, you just hit it on the head. When rain comes thunder, I say when rain comes rolling thunder. The Dirty Herd tailgating crew and along with everybody else in Bison Nation are going to support the NDSU Bison in beating the Grizz here at their home field.
Tell us a little bit about your guys' setup this year. Dirty Herd never disappoints. You guys are even prepared for the rain out here. Talk a little bit about your group right now.
Absolutely. I couldn't do this without any of our, we call them a family. It's a lot of friends, but day in and day out, it's tough to set up this crew, this tailgate without those guys. 40-foot long trailer, 2 TVs, awnings, everything, and these guys are just, I couldn't do it without them.
Well, it's the Dirty Herd family, it's the Bison family, it's lively out here. North Dakota State has taken over what they're calling Lot G out here. It's green and gold. It's a sea of green and gold like always. We got plenty more coming up from the Tailgate Reports. Stick with us, guys.
Man, DJ's ready to take me out. He's ready for game time right now. What was that old linebacker commercial where the guy would just nail people in the office?
Crazy,
That's
right?
DJ. Oh, man. All right, we're going to start giving down the keys to the game coming up here in just a few moments. Before we do, the keys to today's game, I should say, I think I want to take a moment, especially with my man DJ here. We talked earlier, 28-game non-conference winning streak in Missoula for the Grizz. The last time they lost to a non-conference team at home, the Miracle in Missoula against NDSU. Keep in mind, this was Coach Bull's very first season. This is when they made the decision we're going to go from D2 up to D1. This was almost the reverse, the David going to beat the Goliath. No one thought it was going to happen. Everyone thought we were crazy going to D1. I want to hear from you just the thoughts, the memories of having the Bison walk into Missoula with this kind of an upset. What was the thoughts in Missoula?
And I think it was totally unexpected. Remember the Grizz, Coach Houck, that was his first game. Grizz had a backup quarterback going. They got ahead, it was 23, I think 2 at halftime. And the fans didn't even come back. They stayed out and tailgated all the second half because they thought it was going to be a blowout. And all of a sudden, NDSU started rolling, and before you know it, they won the game.
Well, and the way they won the game was a phenomenal trick play from Coach Bull. They thought, you know what, we got nothing to lose here. They go down for a field goal and thought, oh, what the heck? Or was it blocked? I can't remember. Here's the call from Montana.
Back to punt this one away. 4th and short. No, we've got a fake. Right off to the left side is Clark. Doug Clark with a heck.
That is not it. Hopefully do we have the right soundbite there, guys? To show the miracle in Missoula and the fake field goal? Well, if we have that, we will share it with you. But many of you, I'm sure, remember, Mr. Weezer ends up catching the rock in the end zone. Then Montana drives down. Here it is.
This will be a 37-yard attempt. It is blocked. No, it is a fake. Pardon me. NDSU ends up with a touchdown. Mike Weezer. Oh, my goodness. The NDSU sidelines has erupted as they've taken the lead over the 3rd best team in.
You know what? DJ brings up a great point. He just said off the air, boy, what a great catch.
Yeah.
And that was really a phenomenal grab.
What a throw by a running back.
Can you do that little thing he just did there for us?
That was the Bernie. He did the Bernie before the Bernie was popular. That was a great dance move there.
All right, let's talk quickly about last year's game as well to kind of give you a preface of what's going to be coming up today. Again, one of the things that a lot of people, in my opinion, aren't talking about is you've got the same D coordinator against the same offensive coordinator. I don't see a lot change in there on either side of the ball, and if anything, I think you might see the Bison run the rock even more.
Yeah, NDSU, their strength is their O-line. They got a left tackle and a left guard that I think are NFL, without a doubt, caliber. And their other guys could be too. They're all over 300. They have the power to control the game. That's the key for NDSU. Can they control the game? I think they're going to line up Morlock all over, the local boy. I'd like to see him. It's neat for our area to see Chase do well. Bonnet at tight end. I think those guys are going to have big games for NDSU. On the Grizz side, they just need to get going offensively and keep the ball.
Everything that we've heard from NDSU leading up to this game is we're going to see a bevy of backs, 4, maybe 5 guys out there running the football for NDSU. So if you can get the fresh legs in for NDSU like they're expecting to, will the Montana defense be able to, especially in this smoke? I mean, yes, we're making a lot of the smoke, but it is smoky out there, and we heard in the Sanford injury report, it's going to be an issue for some of these players out there. So who can stay fresher longer? If NDSU is able to get 3 or 4 backs that are in there that are able to contribute on a consistent basis, then what's the answer for the Montana defense?
We are 5 minutes to game time. Again, stay right here with us. We'll kick you over to ESPN in just under 5 minutes. One of the things I'm really looking forward to, guys, is I want to see, and I talked to Coach Klieman earlier this week, watch Wentz run the rock. One of the things you got to think about, this is a big dude, 6'5", 6'6", 235. What happens when you got a quarterback running the rock now is now you got 10 on 10, and all of a sudden you've got this giant quarterback getting into the secondary against a $175, $180 DB. I know if I'm a $180, I don't want to hit this guy. I'm probably running, trying to get out of the way, and Wentz will roll you over like we saw last year a few times.
Well, we saw him do it a few times last year. The play that comes to mind is in the national championship game where he bowls over and gets into the end zone. He did it a few times in the regular season as well. So he said earlier in the week that it's kind of strange to have designed run calls for him, but they feel it's a strength and an advantage that they have with him.
All right, we want to get to a second piece of Coach Klieman's interview again with Beth Hool. She's out there in Missoula. Get his absolute final thoughts before he heads out onto the field. And after that, all 3 of us are going to share with you our keys to the game. Here's Beth Hool with Coach Klieman.
Hey guys, we're gearing up for kickoff here in Missoula, Montana. NDSU getting ready to take on the Grizz in the kickoff of college football. It's an exciting moment. It's an exciting game, and we're waiting to see if the lights will be too bright for some of these young defensive Bison football players. The question mark that doesn't exist this season, of course, Carson Wentz. He proved himself last year. We're no longer wondering, can he compete? Can he lead this team? It's how he'll be able to control this offense and keep that Grizz offense off of the field. It'll be an exciting game. We're excited to see the defense step up here. A lot of young guys with an opportunity to showcase their talents, and not just to Bison Nation, but to the entire nation. Set the tone for this season that the drive for 5 is alive and well. We've got an exciting game coming up. Can't wait to see what you guys have in store. Chris Berg, do you think they can do it? Welcome to the broadcast. What do you think?
First off, I'm absolutely loving this, especially if DJ doesn't hit me by the end of the show. But I love her little drive for 5 is alive. I'm with her. I think the drive for 5 is more than alive right now. All right, let's go to our keys in the game. We are less than 3 minutes to game time. Gentlemen, we're going to start with you, Alex. What do you have for us?
Well, I think it's going to be which defense steps up and which defense gets the stop. We heard from Coach Klieman earlier this week. It's going to come down to a defensive stop. Which defense gets that stop? I personally think it's going to be the NDSU defense. They do have yeah, the inexperience, but they've gone up against good talent in practice. I think NDSU's defense gets the stop, and NDSU comes out on top.
By the way, DJ, I just audibled. You got double teamed, and I went over the top on your safety. But other than that, what are your keys?
Can the Grizz run the ball at all, especially on the outside? I think they're going to struggle inside. Can the Grizz get the ball outside? You got to remember, Stitt throws a lot, but he controls the game, and he has had a 1,000-yard rusher every year. So can the Grizz run the ball at all? That's the key if they have any chance to be in this game. Also, watch for some big special teams plays. NDSU has always been special in special teams. Watch today.
I've got really 3 keys, and they all kind of line up, if you will, as you take them one by one. First off, and I mentioned this earlier, Coach Klieman said, Chris, the most important key for us is to hold this team to 70 plays or less. They would love to run 100 plays this game. If they can prevent them from doing that, they're going to end up winning. And the second thing, from a different kind of perspective to focus on, is going to be third down conversions. If the Bison can find themselves in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, again, this is where you can use a guy like Wentz. You're going to have a bevy of backs coming in and out of the game to just hammer it home with this great O-line. Third down conversions will be very important, which obviously leads to, if you're getting a bunch of those, then you're going to have a lot of time of possession. To me, those are the 3 keys to a Bison victory.
Well, you mentioned time of possession. Last year in this game, the Bison had nearly 18 minutes more time of possession than Montana did. So I think Coach Klieman is looking at last year's game, the game plan from last year's game, and use that as what to do, the blueprint for winning today. But will he be able to do it? That's a big question.
DJ, we got a minute left. I want to bring Missoula up full screen if we can, just to give DJ a chance to sort of reminisce here. What's going through your head right now, sir?
A lot of fun, great times, great passion. I hope the Grizz fans are taking care of the Bison fans. I'm sure everyone's loving it out there.
That is such a beautiful setting.
It's one of the best you can get. This is so great. The 2 best programs, the Giants from the last 2 decades to the Giants of now, are getting together. The fan bases are jacked up. It doesn't get any better than this. You got Monty going nuts out there on the field.
Get ready, like it's going to be a bear and a Bison just colliding today. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Hey, I will say this, though. Did you see in the corner there was a little bit of yellow? I think Bison Nation traveled well to this game. Even if they're not inside the stadium, they were traveling well out there. This could very well be a home game for the Bison if they can make the right amount of noise, although that's going to be drowned out by about 20,000 of Montana faithful.
We cannot thank you enough for joining us today. Do you want to arm wrestle for this one, man, or what?
No, I'm taking it.
Oh, man, all right. We'll give it to you.
ESPN, Brent Musburger.